It's really, really warm in here, and we're about to meet Baayork Lee, who is directing and choreographing the Australian revival of A Chorus Line.
5, 6, 7, 8!
Now, you have a very personal connection with A Chorus Line. Tell us a little bit about your involvement with the show since its inception.
Well, Michael Bennett had a group of dancers come together, and they were going to be talking about is Broadway dying? Michael didn't know what he wanted, if this was going to be a play, a musical, or a book, or a movie. He just got a group of people together, and they were going to talk about the situation of Broadway and dancers, because we thought dancers were dying. And so from that workshop came, it wasn't a workshop, it was the talk sessions, came stories. And those stories are the stories in the show. And my story about Connie, who's an Asian girl who's too short to be in the ballet, is on the stage. That's my personal connection. But also my personal connection is with Michael Bennett. And we met as children going to dancing school in the summers. He would come down from Buffalo and he'd go to my dancing school. And so I was his first friend in New York. And he was 13, I was much, much younger, I was 2. But eventually we danced in Broadway shows together, and Michael said he wanted to be a choreographer, and he said at that time you had to belong to a director or choreographer. They had their stable of dancers. And so Jerome Robbins had his dancers, Bob Fosse, Peter Gennaro. Michael Bennett was just up and coming, and he said, I want you to become a Michael Bennett dancer. And I was looking for a home. Bob Fosse would never hire me, my legs weren't long enough, and things like that. And so I was very happy to have that connection, because everything he did, I did television, commercials, Broadway, off-Broadway, whatever he did, I was his dancer. So that's my personal connection. And then Michael went on to do other things, but he left me and trained me to be his dance captain, his assistant, and so through the years I was very, very close to him. And by the time the chorus line came around, I was already his assistant. So I was going to be an assistant on the show, but I never ever dreamed that he would want me to be performing and telling my life story.
And here you are now.
And here I am now, 36 years later, and just so happy to be doing my third company in Australia. This is incredible. I never dreamed. Yeah.
Now, you've worked on a lot of productions of A Chorus Line specifically, and including the original, the Broadway revival and the original. How's the Australian cast shaping up comparatively?
Well, they are. You know what's happened? We were the first ones to use the term triple threat. You must sing, dance, and act. And that started with the chorus line. We were the first reality show. I mean, I was playing myself, everybody was playing themselves, you know. So there are a lot of benchmarks that we made. When I first came to Australia, and we went to London and Berlin and all those places, dancers danced, singers sang, and actors were acting. So there are 3 separate departments. And we kind of had like a chorus line camp where we hired actors, but we had to, get their dancing together. And the dancers couldn't really sing. Oh, they could sing, but we made them better so that everybody was on an even level. Well, nowadays, I mean, come on. I mean, they're singing like, Pavarotti, and they're dancing like Nureyev, and they're acting like Olivier. So, God, I think about, gosh, thank goodness, we set a standard, and it's just gone off the charts here. Absolutely off the charts. I'm just so pleased with my company.
That's so good to hear. How do you find casting Connie, being your role, your story?
How
do you find the process of trying to find the Connie?
First of all, they're terrified. because who am I going to play my life? You know, I think I've had to separate myself. And you know, she's another role in the show that I must cast because I will really, the girls are very intimidated, you know, so I'm just looking for talented, short, Asian,
Ageless.
ageless
Yeah.
dancer, you know. But I've got a gem.
You've got a gem. You've got my good friend Leia.
Oh my God. You know, we took her to London and then she went on to Tel Aviv. And I'm just so pleased with her.
We've been West Side Story together, so we've. I love her dearly, and she's loving this like you would not even believe. It's obviously an extremely demanding dance piece. How do you prepare your cast for such a taxing job?
Oh, you should ask them. Chorus line boot camp. We have to get them physically and mentally ready to be able to take on this show because the show is their responsibility. You know, usually the chorus, they're behind somebody and they can just go in the dressing room and, you know, do a number and do whatever and then come out again. I mean, they're on the stage for 2 hours and it's their responsibility. So we are really training them physically, 45-minute warm-up physically so that they can stand on the line and, you know, stay warm. And then also mentally, that they are the show. And it's a whole different mindset when it's your responsibility. And it's like dominoes. If someone isn't present all the time, you know, the next person feels it, you know, and then it goes by the wayside.
Yeah.
And they must be present for 2 hours. Not 1 second can go by because there's somebody in the audience watching you.
It's 17 performers on a bare stage.
Exactly.
Someone and 2,000 people looking at you.
And
someone is going to have their eyes on you.
Basically, we have no set. You know, there's just mirrors, and you know, and we're in rehearsal clothes, and so what Michael Bennett set out to do was to educate the audience to see what we dancers go through when we are at an audition. And so we educate the audience. We tell them where to look, you know, by our focus, what we're looking at and who's talking. So everybody's focus is on that person, so the audience is watching that person. And also how we audition. And you know, we bare our souls every time we go out there. And rejection after rejection after rejection. You know, we have the first elimination where the ballerina is let go and the girl who can't dance is let go and boy who watches his toes, you know, all of these people so that the audience sees why people aren't chosen.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they're not, you know, part of the group. And that's what the chorus is about, being the part of the group. You know, as the show goes on and we have the final elimination, we wonder why he has chosen these particular dancers, because we have gotten to know in the 2 hours all about them and their personal lives.
You're making the audience question why they weren't chosen, like the actor who hasn't been chosen
Exactly.
would question their ability or like, because as you said, they've watched that person for the last 2.5 hours, and
so they,
why didn't they get it? That's
exactly
making them understand.
But that's, you know, and that's one of the reasons Michael Bennett did not want an intermission, not want the audience to go out and start judging. First of all, the show.
Yes.
Because we're not doing Macbeth. You know, we're just simple dancers trying to, you know, get a job. We're not doing anything heavy. But he also didn't want them to start judging and, you know...
saying who they did or didn't like.
Yes, I like and I don't like. And so his concept of the show is like a film. You know, it just comes at you. And then all of a sudden the 2 hours is over.
Yeah.
And then you leave saying, well, why did he... You know, it's after the fact that you can make your judgment.
Yeah. But, well, a chorus line had many firsts. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the first real workshop process that a show went through on Broadway.
Yeah. First workshop. It took us a very long time. When you have 16 dancers saying, well, how do we write a show, Michael? I mean, we just had a bunch of tapes and stories. And that's the genius of Michael Bennett, of, you know, who goes first, who goes second, and then bringing in Marvin Hamlish to put the music, to put an underscore under us, and he had just won 2 Oscars, and so his whole frame of mind was in the film milieu.
Yeah, there are a lot of iconic moments in a chorus line. What stands out for you personally as a...
What I Did for Love.
Yeah.
That is the iconic song.
Yeah.
That is the song that sums up everything that we dancers do. We love what we do. The fact that, you know, the director of the film decided to give it to Cassie, you know, that was, you know, so off the mark for us who have been in the business for so long. And we don't, it's 2 or 3 years old when mom's bringing us to dancing school, or we want to do something, that even musicians or painters or whatever, we're doing it because we love to do it and because we feel there's a calling to do it. And that's what the song is about. When Zach speaks to Deanna and he says to everyone, if today were the day you had to stop dancing, how would you feel? And she answers for anyone who has ever taken a lesson, gone to an audition, gone to an interview for McDonald's, anybody. She answers for all of us. It's beautiful because she was the chosen one, because she's the one that stands up for theater. And she answers, you know.
Yeah.
Look, my eyes are dry.
That line.
The gift was ours to borrow. Yes, our talent was God-given, you know? So, it's what I did for love, for me. Please.
Well, I think we've got the one more question, which is the blanket question for all interviewees from Aussie Theatre. Who on this production is your show crush?
Show crush. Oh my goodness, they're all my babies. You know, I'm the mom. I think you have to love all your children.
Yeah. Yes. Good answer. Perfect answer. Thank you.